What up, though? How's everybody?
Hey, hey.
Welcome to Detroit Table Talk.
Hi.
I'm tired.
Me too. Me too, but I'm here.
But we blessed.
Yes.
We blessed to sit here at the table
Yes.
another day.
Yes, definitely.
We are in for a great surprise. I have Miss Alicia. Is it Walker?
White Walker.
White Walker. I just knew I was going to get it right. White Walker at the table with me. And today we're talking about women collaboration.
Yes, definitely.
Welcome to the Detroit Table Talk. This your first time here.
Yes, yes. Thanks for having me.
I couldn't wait for you to come. I have a whole lot of notes, but I'm not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? We just going to let it flow. But I may look down and be like, okay, girl.
Okay, let's do it.
I appreciate Alicia because when I first met her, I think you've been like really supporting me ever since.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
That's why I was like, this is a great
topic.
Who
is she, huh?
This is a great topic to talk about women collaboration because I don't think that we understand how important it is for women to link up. And it's as important as for men to link up, but that's on a month. We still in Women's History Month. So it's all about the queens.
That's right. That's right. Happy Women's Month.
Happy Women's Month to each and every one of you.
Yes.
We got one more week.
Yeah, one more week.
Listen.
But we're going to carry it out with a blast, so.
And let me tell you this. We rule the world.
Yes, we do.
I know that our men are our head. They're the priest of our homes. But at the end of the day, the backbone is what support everything.
That's right.
And that's us.
That's right.
So we are going to celebrate women, not just in the month of March, but we're going to continue to celebrate women until we can't celebrate anymore.
That's right. That's
you know, we have great mothers and sister friends, and I don't have a daughter, but I wish I did. But I don't have a daughter. But the young ladies that are in my son's life, they kind of make up for it. Kind of.
That's a blessing. That's
a blessing,
definitely.
Until they get married, then y'all just kind of make up for it. No, I'm just playing. So, Miss Alicia, tell me about yourself.
Well, I'm a wife, mother, educator, book author.
You're going through that really fast now. Now, she wear many hats.
Yes. I work in education, author, business owner, wife, mother, women empowerment activist, a little bit of everything. I like to have my hands in a lot.
See, women, we shoulder a lot.
Yes, we do.
And we keep on going.
Yes.
I mean, listen to what she said. Just a few of those. Yes. A wife and a mother.
Yes. Of two.
Those are roles those are full-time roles.
Yes, definitely.
And then now she's an educator of other people's children.
Yes.
So that means you're still a mother.
Yes, all day, every day.
500-600 plus.
Girl. Okay.
I can imagine because I'm on the education side as well. And from the time I walk in the building, hey, Ma. And I don't even correct them no more. I just be like, okay, because before.
And it's perfectly fine.
I'd be like, I ain't your mama. I wouldn't be tearing you up. But now I just be like, come here, baby, give me a hug. Just give me a hug.
Yes. You love them. You gotta love them.
And I love when they fight over me. I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. Stop hugging my mama. That's my mama. And I'd be having like 6 or 7 of them. I'd just be.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, it's a blessing. It's a blessing working in education. You have kids away from home. So.
What made you get into education?
I've been in education since 2005. Actually, I was going to do hair and nails. That's what I thought I was going to do. Oh, I'm going to be a cosmetologist. But then I
Did you go to school for it?
No, okay. But I did know how to do nails.
I went to nail school and graduated.
Okay.
And shortly after I quit the profession. I wasn't really making no money. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm one of them type of people. I was giving people, breaks. Carmen, can you do my nails and stuff? I'll pay you in 2 weeks. And before I knew it, people was coming and always paying me later.
Yes.
And then I would never ask for my money. And my mother was like, you need to quit that profession because you just too nice.
You're too nice,
yeah.
People will take advantage. They will.
And I was doing it out my house, so my mother used to scare me all the time. Oh, somebody gonna come up in there and kill you and my grandbabies. And you know what I'm saying? That's why you can't listen.
Yeah.
And Sometimes it's even, people
Yes, definitely.
to speak over your life because she planted a seed. So every time somebody came that was referred and I didn't know them, I was paranoid.
Oh, yeah,
And
definitely.
I was like, yeah, I'm out of this business because y'all owe me too much money. And
You're like, where's my profit?
Yeah.
My work is being done, but where is my profit? Okay.
but I kind of want to get back into it because I love nails. I love hair. I never wanted to do hair though. So listen, let's talk about it.
Okay.
Women collaboration. Now we know that's a big hat because they say, now I don't know who they is, but they say women can't work together.
I believe that we all can work together. Everybody isn't, and I say this all the time. Everybody have different agendas. It's important to find your tribe.
Yep.
And rock with that.
Yep.
You have good and bad and all. But when you find quality women that's around you, that's in your circle, it's important to just embrace that, and you guys, you can make a lot happen. I'll say that. And I think collaboration is always good.
It is. And I think sometimes you have to indirectly train the other people that are around you to know what it is and to feel like to be connected to strong women, good women,
Yes.
and not feel like you always have to watch your back
Yes.
with women.
Yes.
It's more like a sisterhood. And I'm definitely learning it. I have two sisters, so it wasn't that hard. But even in the sorority I'm in, you got to learn to work with different people,
Yes.
their personalities, and you got to be able to bend and
let stuff go.
let it go as
Choose
quick
your
as you
battles.
can. That's what I'm learning now,
Definitely.
to choose my battles, because we all have a way that we like to operate. And sometimes when people come in and maybe you can foresee stuff maybe not running as smooth, but that's still a part of the learning process.
Yes, and I think that energy is important also when it comes to energy. Because, oftentimes you could be around negative energy, but if your positive energy outshines that, people will step back and they'll be like, she ain't about the negative.
Yep.
And then it'll make them change the way that they do things and see things. I always try to encourage.
Yeah.
And so when other women see me, I want them to look at me as if, oh, she's an encourager. She's positive. She's about women.
Yep.
I don't want them to look at me like, oh, she's funny acting. She's, this, that, and the third. You want people to look at you from a positive perspective because looks can be deceiving.
True. That's true.
Sometimes you might think a person don't care for you, and that's not even the case.
Yeah.
But if you have a conversation with that person, because I always say, I know I'm cool peeps.
See, I get the opposite. People look at me and be like, oh, she look mean. But then when they get to know me, they be like, she is
cool.
the nicest person ever.
Yes.
But I'm a Capricorn.
I'm a Virgo. So.
We see everything and we can discern everything.
Yes.
So sometimes, well, not sometimes, all the time I'm back and I'm watching and I'm observing.
Yes.
That don't mean I don't like you. That mean I'm just hearing a download from God, to see, okay, how far can I go?
Yes. I go off energy. I go off energy.
So do you call, now, everybody is saying energy now. Is that the Holy Spirit of discernment?
Yes.
Or we just changed that from the Holy Spirit of discernment to energy? Okay.
Because it's so crazy because even since I've been younger, I've always been able to pick up on people that's genuine.
Yep.
Sometimes, and I'm not psychic or anything, but
it's prophetic.
It scares me sometimes that I could feel something before it happens. I tell my husband that all the time.
Yep.
He even said, and it's to the point that 9 times out of 10, I'm like, dang, I seen that or I felt that. I can walk in a room and tell when somebody
that's me
not on what they, I've always been like that since I've been younger. And sometimes it's scary. And oftentimes people think that you're acting funny, but it's just like, no, I'm going to just, hey, how you doing? And that's that,
I'm real good with, and this is not to sound, arrogant or anything like that. I know the gifting that God has upon my life. And I'm real good. I could say, oh, that situation or that person. They be like, well, no, this person is good. And I may not even know a lot of times why I feel the way that I feel. But in due time, God always reveals it. And I'll be like, man, I knew it.
Yes, definitely. And it's true. I mean, you can feel energy. You can. And then sometimes you have to go with your gut.
That gut feeling?
Yeah, sometimes, oftentimes we don't want to see things for what they are. We want them to be what we want them to be.
Ooh, I just was telling an older lady this a couple of hours ago. I get in trouble by that.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to when God has told me something. And he's the blueprint. Matter of fact, I think I said it on my video that I made this morning. He's the blueprint, so he knows what's going to take place. But I always try to make it what I want it to be. And then when it don't pan out, I'm hard on myself because I'm like, I already knew because he told me. But always, my theme is this. As long as you're living, I think you can change.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. Sometimes, how can I say this? I had a friend, she used to always give people the benefit of the doubt. But I believe that when a person show you who they are, that's just what it is. Especially without you, how can I say this? You forgive people, you see things go on. Like an incident, this was some years ago. I worked somewhere and had a coworker. She was real nice. She would always speak to this one particular lady. This lady would never speak to her. Wow. And she would make an excuse every day why this lady wouldn't speak to her. And I just told her flat out, she ain't speaking because she don't want to speak. Stop speaking.
You told her stop speaking?
Stop speaking.
And it probably hurted her heart that she had to stop
but I
speaking.
think she's going through some things, and I get that. But it's been a year, and she not speaking back, so let that be that. And she stopped speaking, but it's sometimes we have a problem with accepting people for who they are. And then we hurt our own feelings by giving them more credit than what they should have.
That's so true.
If I come in to your circle and I'm treating you with respect, I expect for you to do that to me. I shouldn't have to beg you for that. You didn't have to beg me.
That's so true.
So I just think as women, it's important to stand together so that it doesn't be all of that animosity. Be upfront. When you're real about certain things, you don't have those issues, So I think
grace and grace is sufficient for all of us.
Yes.
And I think we should have a level of grace for people. However, I think that we should take things at face value.
Yes, definitely.
They say when you see what something is, don't try to make it what it's not.
Exactly.
Exactly. What do you think some of the benefits are of women, collaborating and working together?
Well, just to be honest and put it in a nutshell, we're powerful. We should know that. And know your worth. Don't just say you know your worth, but know your worth. Oftentimes people throw I know my worth and I'm not going to deal with this, that, and the third. Anybody can say they know their worth, but you can tell you know your worth by the things that you allow and you deal with in your life.
That's so true.
We all got a mouth to talk. So what is it, what is really going on? So I think it's very important that you be real with yourself. Know your power. When you know your power, nobody can take that from you. When you know that you're doing things with a pure heart, you can't really worry about, oh, well, she don't like me, he don't like me, this, that, and the third. You can't do that because you'll drive yourself crazy. That's true. So I always try to operate out of love. But if I pick up on some bold energy, I'm good.
What made Alicia?
Well, you know what?
Because I want us to be as transparent as we can in this space. What made you who you are?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I had a grandmother, Hattie Mae, rest in peace. When I tell you, my grandma was a no nonsense, tell you like it is, flat out in your face. She talked to me about life, women, men. My grandmother would literally, I would bring people around and she'll say, she ain't your friend.
Wow.
And I used to be like, you used to hanging with somebody, so you just kind of like, oh, grandma, that ain't your friend. Watch her. And I'm sure we've all had our parents tell us certain things, but she was very strong and she taught me so much. I used to get those, sit on the couch. We about to talk about life. I'm about to give you the whole, yes. She was from, Alabama. So she was
that's down south.
What?
Let's sit down and have this conversation.
I'm talking about, she even told me about everything. So with her being, me and her being so close, she taught me so much. People will call me, her, you little Hattie, you're little Hattie. And probably some listeners that's looking at the video actually right now will probably be like, yeah. But she was like a no-nonsense type of woman.
Okay.
She had real good discernment, woman of God. a loving person would give you the shirt off her back.
Mm-hmm.
So I was raised up around that.
Mm-hmm.
So to be in a household with a woman that's strong for so long, after a while, you pick up those traits.
Okay.
And as she, I got older, I started looking at a lot of things that I used to think that, oh my gosh, here she go again. But now that I'm a grown woman, I have my own kids and things like that, I see exactly what she's saying.
Yeah.
So, she put a lot in me. And I miss her so much because it's like, dang, grandma, you were right, But at the same token, I'm blessed to have had that because some people don't have that.
Yeah.
So it's a blessing. So
have you ever been at a place in your life where maybe people have said, or you noticed that you were closed off? And if so, how did you change it where you became a little bit more open, where people felt invited to come into your space? Now, I know you can't invite everybody, but
I think after, what can I say? I'm not going to say I'm not approachable because I am. But I think that once a person gets to know me, they'll see like, okay, she's cool. She's this, that, and the third. But I'm just not one of those type of people that's going to go over and be on to fit in someone else's spot.
Yeah.
For lack of I'm me.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with the woman that I am, and as a black woman, as a black queen, I'm with it. Even when I cut my hair, I used to wear the weave, and nothing is wrong with that. I'm gonna say that. But when you get to know knowledge of yourself and things like that, it's
good.
It's almost like certain things you're like, no, I'm good on that.
Yeah.
I feel free.
Do you think it's connected to a self-identity problem when it comes to women? Now, I've in the last couple of weeks, I've looked at, Facebook, social media, TikTok and stuff like that. And it's almost like, and I'm not saying it in a negative connotation in a way, but it's almost like we're not satisfied with who we are. Everybody is getting the BBLs and, and the breast enhancements and, like you say, the weave and stuff like that. A lot of us won't even come out the house unless we are put together.
Yes. But what I'm noticing is that a lot of those things come from TV, social media, self-hate.
Yep.
And that's what I mean about self-love. Yeah. Nothing is wrong with adding hair, lashes, or whatever, but when you depend on that to get a man or a husband, because I've actually heard women say, his wife, she playing because she's a natural woman.
Wow.
But what I'm noticing is that a lot of men, especially black men, they're starting to be more into natural women.
I ain't seen that yet.
You haven't? I have.
I hear it.
They are.
I hear it a lot. Men tell me all the time, well, I like it. But you say that, but then you go after the one that's plastic down. So it's like I truly believe that's what they want. But I would love to see more men actually go after natural women.
Yeah, because I get compliments all the time. Not just from black men, but other races. They'll say, you're beautiful. I don't got on makeup. I don't have on nothing extra, natural hair and things like that. And I feel good knowing that I can just get up, get in the shower, put some lip gloss on, and keep it moving. Yeah. You feel free mentally. When you can be yourself, your authentic self, and it's just nothing like it.
How would you suggest, and I think a lot of times we do, and I didn't, did you guys tape this morning? Was it taped?
No, we took pictures.
Okay. So I would like for women to get in a room with women that they love, they like, and just have some real conversations. Because I think sometimes we need to relearn some of the stuff that we are learning out here in society. And when I mean relearn, sometimes we have to teach each other how to get in front of that mirror and just look at yourself and say, I love everything about me. Yes. You know what I'm saying? I'm not perfect, especially women who have bear children.
Yes.
you know, something deep down inside of us. I'm not like that no more, but I used to be. I used to put on some clothes, but now I be like, it is what it is. These are battle scars.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, but I think that women should get in front of a mirror and really begin to love themselves.
Yes, definitely.
You know,
because we're all beautiful.
all beautiful.
It doesn't matter. We're all beautiful. You're just as beautiful as you think you are. But if you let somebody else break your confidence down, then that's something you got to deal with.
Yeah.
We're all unique. We're all beautiful, and that's why I stress that. You know,
I make it a point.
I've heard women say things like, "I don't like this about myself. I don't like that," and they want to go change it. You know, like when I hear women passing away from surgery and things like that. Now, if you get into surgery because that's what you want to do, that's fine. But don't alter yourself and put yourself in harm's way to get a man.
But if you really even do digging and they sit down in front of a counselor, once you get to the root or the foundation of that, it still revert back to, you know, how you want people to see you.
Yes.
You know, it
That's
still
true.
reverts back to, you know, having issues with your self-esteem and the way that you see yourself. You know, I think that I make an effort to try to see people the way that God see them.
Yes, definitely.
And I try to encourage women that are in my life to see themselves as beautiful. I don't let people be around me. And Dr. Vatanji, she can say it. I'm sure she's probably watching. You know, she's like, "Well, Carmen, I got to do this." I said, "Don't say that around me. Don't say that." You know, and, you know, later on, she'd be like, "You know what? I'm so glad you said that to me. I love you for that." We have to encourage each other.
Yes.
You beautiful.
Just like when we were on the phone
Speak
that
life
day.
into
We
yourself.
were talking. You know, we end up, you calling me for one thing. We're on the phone an hour and a half. It's talking, you know. But, you know, you have to understand that it's women that really care about you.
Yes.
And that's why I always greet women on social media. "Hey, queens. Good morning, queens. Have a good day, queens." You know, whether it reach one person or nobody. I try to make that a habit.
Yeah. I would say, "Hey, beautiful."
Yes.
Or,
yes.
you know,
Or if your hair is nice,
Yeah.
oh, your hair cute. Your
Yeah.
shoes, because I
Oh,
get
girl,
compliments.
your hair nice.
There's nothing that's wrong with that.
But if you notice, some of us sometimes have a hard time even receiving that.
It-
They be like,
yes.
"Oh, you talking to me?"
Yes.
Yes.
I've seen
Your
it.
hair is beautiful.
I've
Girl, I
seen
like that outfit.
I've seen it. And,
You know?
and then, you know, another thing that I think is a problem. Well, I'm not going to say a problem, but something that women battle with. A lot of women don't know how to be a friend. They don't, like, I'm a loyal friend. I'm that friend that if
To
you
the
tell
end.
me something, I don't care if I'm mad at you for 3 months. You're not going to hear that I said anything about any of your business. That's just how I move.
That's how I am. Now, there's another side of me. I have been loyal to a fault.
Yes.
And I'm learning sometimes there's a point where you have to let go. But I think that I'm learning to, matter of fact, I just had something that happened today. So I'm glad you said that. I had been really loyal to a person who I brought into my life. And I mean, really going out my way to help this individual have, you know, a business. And I made it my business to make sure that I wanted to see her succeed. And she did something to me. And I was like, "Oh, I don't do betrayal," you know. And I was something happened today, and I was telling someone else. I said, "You know, relationship means a lot, you know, with people.
Yes, it does.
You get more when you are connected, you know, and when people support you, than you do when when you don't." And I'm trying to say it without saying, you know, really what happened.
Yes, definitely.
But I was telling a friend, I said, it's all about relationship. I said, had we still been at a place where we were, I would have had, you know, her back all the way. I said, but because, you know, I felt like I was betrayed, now we go back to the blueprint. Now we go back to the rules and the regulation. And I don't like feeling like that or being like that, because I'm extremely loyal.
Yes, and you know, and it's sad to say, and I'm gonna just say this: some people, they can't function if it's not dysfunctional,
That I've learned that.
and that's not your problem. It's not. I will separate myself, get quiet, won't talk. You know, and what's wrong? I'm good. I'm good. Some people cannot function if it's not dysfunctional, and you always have to be mindful of the person that talks about everybody.
We'll talk about
Know
you.
that you're the conversation when you get up from the table.
That is so true.
Because if a person has never wronged you, never done anything but be nice to you, respect you, show you love, what is it that you have negative to say about them? Like what could you possibly say about a person that's nothing but positive to you? I don't get that.
People respond. Again, I said that on my live this morning. People respond out of their hurts,
Yes.
out of their traumas, out of their pain. A lot of times we don't get to see people through clear lenses because we're operating behind rose-colored glasses.
Yes.
And that's why I think even with women in relationships and building friendships and collaborating, you got to get to know
Yes.
your sister.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And then you also have to get to the point where you're comfortable with your sister bringing stuff to the table, you know,
That's
without
right.
being offended.
That's right.
And wanting to walk away or run away from a situation.
Yes.
People in your life challenge you if they love you.
That's right.
And if they're a true friend, they challenge you to be better and to do better. And I don't know if a lot of us are in a position where we're willing to grow.
And you know, the blessing thing about life is in general, and this goes for even relationships. And me and my husband, we talk about this all the time. You can pick and choose who you let in your circle. You can pick and choose who you allow your energy to entertain. Life is a choice when it comes to the people that's around you, that's in your life, and the things that you're doing. So if you're allowing nonsense, you're allowing that. Because you can separate yourself if you want to.
Yeah.
It's no different than when you're in a relationship with a man. If you're in a relationship with a man, it's relationship. So that means that, okay, we're going to come together and we're going to build and we're going to be happy. If I've been fine prior to us not being together and I'm happy, I'm not going, and this goes for women and men. You don't allow a person to come in your life, in your circle, to make you unhappy. That's a choice. You allow that. You know,
you got to set the tone.
You have to set the tone. So I say that if you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to always get what you've been getting. That's
called insanity, people.
You know, it's called mental illness to know that you don't care for a person, or you don't care for a person and they've done nothing to you. You know, we don't talk about that.
That's deep.
You know, like you've never, like you said, I was supporting you, but I went off your vibe. I know that you know Dice, Dr. Batanji, everybody. We're like all a big family.
Yep.
So yeah, when you reached out to me, hey girl, you see, I called you back. Hey boo, what's going on? Like you would have thought we talk every day.
That's so true.
And we was on the phone for an hour and a half because I'm genuine like that.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, it's not about that.
I love it.
You know,
I love
and Dr. Batanji, she always tell me, girl, I love you because you just be straight to the point, and you just keep it real. You don't hold up, and I don't. But some people can't handle that. So sometimes you have to be silent.
Now you know what? Before you can get to a collaboration, let's kind of circle back to that friend. You know, because you have to be friends with people.
Yes.
How do you show yourself friendly to people?
You know what? It's not even about showing yourself friendly. It's about showing your character.
Not personal. Not personally. I want people that are going to view this now and later. Okay. Tell them how they can show themselves friendly. Because I hear it all the time. I don't have any friends. There is no way that you are at an age that you're at and you don't have any friends. And if you are at that place, now it's time to do some self-evaluation. Because it can't be everybody and not you.
Exactly.
So tell people how they can show themselves friendly to get friends.
Yeah, I think you should be approachable. I think that you should be open-minded, and you should not look down on anybody.
Yeah.
Oftentimes people, we have and this just being real, women have a thing with trying to outdo each other. When at the end of the day, you put on something, it might not look the same on you than me because I got hips and butt and you don't.
Right.
That don't mean you're not looking cute.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And once we get that being competitive out of it, things will be better. I support people that's never supported me.
Woo, that's a hard pill to swallow.
And I got lipstick bonnets. Everybody wear lipstick.
And I was telling her on the phone. She said something about lipstick. I said, wait a minute. Listen, you got lipstick or lip gloss? I said, I need some of that lip gloss.
I got lipstick, bonnets, clothes.
Yeah.
Books.
Yeah.
Children's books for your kids. I got everything. But you got people that will go out and purchase it from other people that they don't even know just because.
Y'all stop doing that. Seriously.
But I'm fine with that because I look at it like...
Well, no, and we have to be fine with it, but we have to start calling stuff as it is.
Yes.
And we shouldn't have to be fine with that. People will flock to celebrity pages, and I'm not saying don't support them, but people will flock to celebrity pages and other people pages, and you got people in your immediate circle that you won't support. That's nasty work to me. That's crazy.
When I tell you I send orders out California, Arizona, North Carolina, I'm literally, my orders go out of state, but then but they watching everything that you do, which is fine. I'm not tripping. That's why social media could be a good thing and it could be a bad thing. A person will scroll right past your success. But let me put something on social media and say, my husband ain't come home or something crazy. I'm praying for you. Can you? Please. It's crazy. But because, you're positive and you're doing things, people don't, it's sad, but people don't want that.
Let me tell you this a story, and I'm not even going to lie to you. I have people, and now I'm learning that they were never friends. I have a lot of associates that I've had for 25 plus years. People that I've grew up in church with, that was on different ministry teams with, people that I have prayed for, fasted with, fasted on their behalf for them to get a breakthrough. Just you name it, I've done it. People, I have opened up my house. I have cooked for these people. They call me up through the week. What you cook? Can I go get a plate? Yeah. I've had how many graduations? Do you think I've got a congratulations, a dollar store card? I ain't against a dollar store card. I like dollar store cards. Yeah. But my friends, and I held it for a good 2.5 years. And it's sad that you have to hide your successes because people won't support you even by saying, keep going or good job. I hid that I was in my doctoral program for 2.5 years. And there are times that, and this is hard for me because I'm really the strong person in the group. And I never asked for help. But when I got to the point where I was like overwhelmed and this and that, and I think I put something on Facebook that said, I'm just overwhelmed in school and stuff like that. People were more concerned about what school you back in and this and that, whatever. They went over.
Yeah, you overwhelmed.
I'm overwhelmed. But they never said congratulations. They never said, but I'm the first person to say, hey, they say their kid doing something. Oh, I'm there. What? Oh, they selling something? Send me the link and stuff like that. You'd be amazed at people that you are around all the time will never stop to check on you, to call you, to support you. I mean, I have picked up the phone. I have called for people. I have prayed for people. And it's just amazing that somewhere, I don't know where it has happened, that people, and maybe it's a social media era.
It is.
Because people attach themselves to people who have a following before the people that have been there praying with them, literally praying with them and encouraging them.
And it's true. It's social media. you know, that's why I don't really care about the likes. I don't.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm working hard every day. I'm out here,
Woo.
with my business, my husband doing this thing. We got to go. We trying to make it. We not trying to work forever. I mean, that's just what it is. So, when I post, even what I post about my family, I post in the sense of, they always want to say black family, this, that, and the third, but I post in the sense of it can work. You can have a good husband and kids, and I post it to be positive.
And while y'all listening to her talk, her husband is right here supporting her.
Yeah.
He right here cheering her on.
And I just want to say,
I love it.
For the record, shout out to everybody that has supported Vicky Mac, the official, Earl of Bird, my husband's music, and everything that we done, because we do have some social media followers that has been hanging down with us since day one. So you guys do not go unnoticed.
Now, where can they find all that stuff?
Well, I'm on Instagram, Vicky Mac Detroit, and Facebook, Vicky Mac Detroit.
You got to spell it for the people, because sometimes they don't. They be putting all other kind of stuff in the Google, and they be like, I can't find it.
Honey, can you put it in the comments? All of our pages.
Y'all see how that work? You know what I'm saying?
But
her help meet over there. And he didn't question her nothing. He just picked up the phone and said, "Okay, now listen. I said, honey, can you grab this bag for me? You can't grab it. No, that's not. I'll just play with y'all. That ain't my truth.
But like I say, man, I just want to see women come together,
yes,
and we can make moves.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna lie. When my energy is off with somebody, I am not fooling with them. I'm not. I just can't afford to interrupt my peace. And you can tell when somebody is not genuine. Can you? I can feel it. I get quiet. I
tell people around me when I see something or I feel something, I be like, hey, you got to keep your eye on that person.
I like genuine women that's really happy for you, that you can be happy for. And that doesn't, like, I'm the type, if I got some information that's going to help you get on, I'm going to tell you about it. I'm not going to harbor it. I'm not going to hide it. Girl, because I've done that before, with different things with my business. Oh, girl, how did you do this? And this my plug. Because we all trying to make it.
Child, I just did that with somebody, and I don't know if they watching or not, but I'm just going to say it. I did. Somebody told me they dream, and it was like, can you help me? Absolutely. Yeah. I got on my phone, and when it was done, they thanked everybody but the person who connected them to the plug.
I could believe it.
And it wasn't until the plug had to say, wait a minute, this would never happen if it wasn't for my girl Carmen.
I could believe it.
How dare you? Mm-hmm. But see, that's how we are. We got to do better, especially as women.
We do.
You got to do better. People like to keep certain people, it looks like, really good, genuine people in the back skirt. Mm-hmm. And then people they want to be really close to who don't care nothing about them. Yes. They will blow their social media up with them.
All over.
But the people who, you got in the back who, when your car ain't working or you don't got no food, you calling the person,
that's right.
That you ain't never said thank you to, and not that you have to, but I'm just comparing it to people that they put on Facebook. You never say anything publicly acknowledging what they've done for you and your family, but you will, somebody who you want to be connected to, you will blow them up, and it's like, man.
And then too, I always say this. I say I'm 43 years old. I don't have time for not friends that's not genuine. I just don't. I'm not in high school.
It feels good to have genuine people in your
friends.
Life. I love it.
Yesterday, one of me and my close friends, she's married. Me and her, we caught up, went out, and it's like we ain't got to see each other for a couple of weeks, but when we link up, it's a vibe. It's all love. It's like, girl, what's going on? What's been blah blah blah. It's just genuine. And I have a lot of women that I'm close like that with, so it's kind of hard for me to let other women in when I don't feel that they're genuine. Yeah. But if you show me you're genuine, it's all good. But at the end of the day, who goes out searching for friends? I'm not that. I'm not.
We're of a certain age. Yeah, we're of a certain age, and I think friendship comes naturally, but I also, I have to stand on this. Sometimes you have to teach people how to be friends because let's just face it, some of these relationships out here are not genuine.
Yeah, they're not.
And being or being connected to people,
Yes.
and I know people don't like it, but you have to start calling people on the carpet like, hey, babe, I don't like when you do that. Please stop. You know, and you know, you don't throw them away right away. But, you know, if
You let them know what's going on, how you feel. Definitely.
But, you know, a lot of people don't want to hear that. I had a girlfriend who, I'm telling you, so cool. So cool. And she's still cool. She just wasn't cool to continue to stay in my life. I'm getting better with that. I would dismiss somebody in a heartbeat.
That's right.
In a heartbeat. I had supported her, whatever. And I was talking to her one time. Every day, 50 million times a day, she'll call me with her issues. And you know how sometimes you be like, God darn, I don't really want to answer this phone because I know she finna have an issue. I might be on this phone for 2 hours.
Right.
But that's my friend, you know, I'm going to pick up. And one time, out of this whole time we'd have been friends for like 3 or 4 years, I said, you know what? I'm going through this and that. And she was like, well, I don't really have time to hear that.
Girl, no, she didn't.
I said, what?
Girl,
I said, all the times I sit on this phone and listen to you. And a light bulb went on. I promise you I'm not lying to you. God said, hang up. I was like, no, because I just want to tell her. God said, hang up. I said, girl, let me call you back.
Because sometimes you could be friends
I ain't called back yet
to someone, but they're not a friend to you. You know, because one thing I believe is that people are going to do what they want to do. People are going to be who they want to be. People are going to say what they want to say. People are going to talk about you if you're doing good. They're going to talk about you if you're doing bad. It's just what it is. And that's why you have to get to a point, like even with social media. You can't get, I mean, like, I really, this is something that I despise. You know, I hate when people, I'm not going to say hate because I don't want to use that word, but I really dislike when people post certain things and say things like,
I know what you
this
about to say.
person hating on me. Or,
I don't know who
ain't
needs
nobody
to hear
liking
this.
my post. And it's like, why are you that invested in that? Do you? Because if you're doing it for you, you ain't worrying about that. Because it's been times I've posted something, I didn't have 500-600 views and 30 likes. You know, I don't get caught up in that. And it's so crazy because like my son, he's on Instagram. He don't do Facebook really. He every now and then.
They said Facebook is for us older people now.
That's what they say.
they said old people on Facebook.
That's what they say. And my son, he barely posts. He might have like 1 or 2 pictures. He'll keep it on there for a week and then he delete it. Why? That's how them young kids operate on social media.
Oh.
And he said that, and it's crazy because he'll post something, it'll be on there 30 seconds and he got like, what, 500 likes. I'm like, what is, but it's a way that they do it.
What are some practical ways that if women want genuine people in their life, what are some practical ways?
Be genuine yourself.
Be genuine. Be supportive.
Be supportive and genuine yourself. Because everybody, you're going to always run into another woman that's doing the same thing you're doing. Like I have a lipstick line, there's other women that have them. I have a clothing line, same. You know, it's going to always be, and I buy other women's lipstick and shirts and things that they have. I don't trip on that because I want to support another sister. That's just what it is. But you can't make people have the same heart that you have.
Well, we can get them some practical things to do if you're not doing it. Listen, step your game up. Pick up the phone and call and see how, you know, she's doing.
Yes.
You know, you should know the people around you. If she sound funny on the phone and she usually don't sound like that, go lay your eyes on her. You know, say, hey sis, do you need a night out? You know, get together, go meet up. You know, I don't drink that often, but I do have, you know, something to drink every blue moon. Let's go get something to drink, you know, and let her talk, let her vent. You know, sometimes we have to be concerned with what they're concerned with.
Exactly. And we have to care. It's nothing wrong with supporting another woman. You know, sis, you know, it's going to be all right. You know, encouraging another woman. Like if you on my social media page, you're not going to see no drama. I literally unfriend people that just constantly get on Facebook and just be about drama. I can't stand it because there's so much going on in the world now.
I'm a content creator. You're going to
that?
see some questions on mine. I throw questions out there to keep the people engaged because I have a podcast.
Yeah, but you have a podcast. But I'm saying just drama.
Oh, no.
Just dysfunction.
I'm alone. I'm usually by myself.
I've been unfriended before, and my husband can vouch for this. I've been unfriended before because this was some years ago. I had a Facebook friend, and this person always posted negative stuff, negative stuff, and I would just scroll past it.
Would they ask you why you don't ever like it?
And they actually, I guess, felt some type of way because I wasn't indulging in it. I guess I was supposed to get on there and be talking mess, and I'm like, it was kind of weird to me, And I looked up one day and I was unfriended.
Whoa!
And I couldn't believe it. And I told my husband, I said, "Wow, that's crazy." But then you got people that post negative stuff, and then individuals go in their comments and they negative too. So now they're feeding off that. So now you got 150 comments of just, yeah, girl, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, really? So I say that to say is that you got to protect your energy. Like,
now, would you call your friend out? Not on Facebook, but would you, or have you had to pick up the phone and say, hey, I don't really like the way that you're presenting yourself out there.
I've had,
what's going on with you?
A lot of my close friends that I deal with, they're grown women.
Okay.
So they don't really be off into the drama. Mm-hmm. They don't. Mm-hmm. They don't even post that. But I've in the past had to call individuals that I know, like, take that down. Take that down. And
I've had somebody tell me take something down. Yeah. And I'd be like, no. And then I'd be like.
And then you think about it, you'd be like, you know what, I shouldn't take that down. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that.
And if you really genuinely want someone to be to have your back and to watch out for you, because a lot of times we have to watch and cover our friends as well, especially when they're in business and they have opportunities that, certain things you post can mess up their opportunity, So my friend was like, my brother said, take that down. And he's a pastor. I was like, no, because he just started laughing. He said, girl, if you don't take that down, I said, yes, sir. And I just went and took it down because he knows that God has certain things that is connected to my life. And he doesn't want me to have something that in a single post can change the trajectory of, gay engagements and, and stuff like that. So I've had people
and you definitely have to watch what you say on social media. You do. You could be thinking something, but it's not always good to put it on there. Sometimes I see stuff and I'll be like, oh, Lord, like, really? But it's not my place. I don't talk about politics.
I do. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Y'all got to stop me sometime. Sometimes when I go too far, that's it. Look, I get a text in a minute like, Carmen. I'd be like, oh, okay, let me.
But you have a podcast, so it's different,
Yeah, some of my rules don't, but I go too far sometimes. Like I'm supporting Solomon Kinlock Jr. for mayor of Detroit, and I made a comment on somebody else's post, and their father came on my post. The old pastor Sheffield came on my page and he was like this and I was like this and I said, why am I going back and forth with this person? And although I'm telling myself that, I told him, I said, and sir, you think this is going to look good for your daughter's campaign? I said, you may want to sit this out because the questions that I'm asking is what the people what they want to know. And if you're bothered by what I'm asking you or saying it's not a good look for her, she done lost already. So yeah, I'm into politics real bad. What that girl that P. Diddy? What's the girl that he was
Cassidy?
Was it Cassidy?
The one that he got into?
No, the one that Krishan, what's her name? No.
Blueface and Krishan.
The one he gave the podcast to. The young girl.
Oh,
is it Young Miami?
The one that was with Puffy.
I'm connected to the politics real bad. Sometimes I have to say, Carmen, put that phone down, because I'll be like, Jesus Christ. But no, when you collaborate with women, what are some of the benefits you want to see come out of that?
I just want to see women growing, striving, business, mentally, physically, emotionally, girl power.
I love it.
Girl power, happiness, it's a blessing. I don't have my life is very drama free, honestly. I don't be getting into it with women. I just don't,
I get into it more with my students than anybody knows.
Yeah, but I'm blessed to say that I really have like a very drama free life. I just don't indulge in it, so I think that more of that is something that we need to focus on as women, all women, and get to know. I'm gonna just say this because
are you an introvert or extrovert?
I'm probably both.
Okay. See, I'm an introvert, but I'm an extrovert when I have to be. That's what she is too. Okay.
Yeah, I can be both. I think I'm a Virgo, so.
But when I finish being an extrovert, I need to go home and lock myself up and get all my energy back.
I'm one of those type of individuals that I have to think before I say stuff.
Okay.
Because once I get upset about something, and I try not to, but once I get upset,
it's hard for you to calm down.
It's almost like I know how to cut with my words.
Oh, so you like a pit bull? You lock in and don't let go.
I don't even have to. But I can tear you up, like real nice, just how I'm talking to you up, boop, and they gotta say one cuss word, but I will shut it down to the point it'll be like, oh, I ain't dealing with her on nothing ever. I'm mad. I can't
do that. I don't like the way that I feel when I have to
go there.
Break character.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When I have to go that extra mile, I don't like it because that's not genuinely who I am. So if you make me go there,
that's just like even with me being married. Like when I get mad, what do, hon? I get quiet. He know, and he do the same thing. That's how our arguments are. It's not like we don't do that. It's more like let me just.
So y'all both get quiet and go in y'all separate rooms.
Yep. And then it will, we be back to it. And if it's something we need to talk about.
Now who usually break it and be like, oh, come on now.
It depends.
It depends.
Because even if we having a disagreement, he's still gonna be like, I'm about to go get this food. What you want? Or I
love that.
It's still.
We still gotta eat, right?
Yeah, it's not like a situation like we slamming doors or nothing like that. We still
gotta eat. No. We ain't about to be up here mad and hungry.
Yeah, okay? He's still gonna get up and give me a kiss before he leave off for work. He's still gonna call me on lunch. It's like but we just had a disagreement.
See, y'all have to come back next month so we can have a relationship talk. I really want to, and that's my goal for 2025. I want to redefine how people look at relationships in its totality.
Yes.
But especially how men and women look at each other. And I want to change how people see walking into relationships. I think we have allowed social media to inundate us with negativity where we don't see the good in people anymore. The first thing they do that we don't agree with, we're out the door. There is no longevity. Like I said, there is no grace, for people to make a mistake and recover from that. We just throw everybody away.
But I think too,
my stomach just growled. I'm so hungry, y'all.
I think
it was loud too. Y'all might have heard it on camera.
It's important too, especially with marriage. I'm gonna say this: is that nobody is perfect. But one thing for sure, and I'm saying this for the record, my husband not beating, he ain't cheating. Yes, he get on my nerve. Yes, do I get on his? Yes. We not perfect, but like major things like domestic violence or him not coming home, or I don't have to deal with those issues, and I'm thankful for that.
Yes.
Yes. So oftentimes people say, oh, people think their relationship, not us per se, but just in general, you do have healthy relationships.
You do.
I'm in a healthy marriage. You know, do we have disagreements? Of course, we're not the same people. We're not going to agree
grow
on
up
everything.
in the same way,
exactly,
culturally, and
yes.
in households or families.
Yes.
So it's merging of two people.
Yes, and it's nobody is perfect. No relationship is perfect. But one thing for sure, he ain't beating, he ain't cheating, he ain't on drugs. He, the other stuff you getting on my nerve, I could deal with that. All right, whatever, know. But we have to start being with people that want to be together. We got married during COVID.
Wow. Okay.
We, COVID came out the blue for us. We had, we were supposed to get married by the lake, and we were going to postpone it. And, Vic was like, no, we getting married.
But I love that, because meanwhile, y'all getting married in COVID, and there's a lot of divorces that came out of COVID because people realized when they had to be locked down in the same house.
Yeah.
They didn't like the people that they were locked down with.
I enjoyed the COVID lockdown. I was working from home. That's when he started we had a mask business. He started that during COVID.
Okay.
And True was a baby. My son was growing into be a teen. And we enjoyed it. It was kind of like,
that's why it's so, and I was just about to say that's why it's so important. Even when you're talking about women and collaborating and relationship, it's so important to have fun and get to learn people and stuff like that, because when all fail, you can fall back on that friendship.
Definitely. You need,
and stop listening to bitter people. Even when it comes to, especially women and women, just because somebody else may not like a person, or maybe their personalities clash, that don't have nothing to do with you and the way that you see someone. Sometimes we can allow people to talk us out of a blessing or move us out of a situation that can be a blessing to us.
And just because something didn't work for one person doesn't mean it's not going to work for you, because your blessings are your blessings. And we have to be mindful of that. Oftentimes, and it's just women in general, because, we've all been there, we get caught up in, okay, like a woman might like a certain man, but that just might not be who's for you.
Yeah.
But you want that man. He's doing everything that he shouldn't do, but for some reason you just want that man. So you settle. So now you're unhappy. Because this is one thing my grandmother told me, rest in peace, grandma. She said a man is not going to be nowhere he don't want to be.
That's right.
And if a man wants you, he going to make time for what he want to make time for. Right. So if that man not calling you, that man not coming to see you, that man not taking you out, that man not showing you no attention, that's because he don't want to.
That's right.
So don't make excuses. Oh, he's working. Oh, he does. No. Because baby, believe me, somebody
and women make time for what they want.
Yes.
Period.
So I just want to
say my busy schedule.
Don't settle, queens. Do not
At
settle.
all.
Know your worth.
And that's even with friendships. Yes. And because we're talking about women collaborations and stuff like that, that's good to hear even with that.
Yes.
If you say that you her friend and she your friend, and she never called you, you always doing the calling, or you got stuff going on, like you have a business or whatever it is, and they not sharing it, that's free.
That's free.
If they're not sharing your stuff, if they not calling to encourage you to keep, the fight going, and not fight, but to keep, because some people get discouraged, especially in business, and their business maybe not doing good this week. It varies. If they're not calling you to say, hey, keep going, you got this and stuff like that, that's the issue.
I've encouraged a lot of my friends, like, to go to school, push them, go to school. Do this, do that.
Y'all don't encourage me to go to school no more. I'm tired of school now.
Me too. I know.
Which is crazy, because I'm in my last class for my doctorate degree.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you. And I'm just trying to finish these last 2 chapters in my dissertation. But do you know I done already signed up for school again? The devil is
what?
alive.
I was saying I was going to go get my doctorate after I got my second master's. Because I got my second master's when I was 31. Full-time mom, working for the district, all of that. And people used to be like, how did you do all that? And then now that I'm 43 and I look back, I'm like, well, I did that a while ago. And I kept saying to myself, I'm going to go back. But then it's just a part of me. I'm so busy with doing so much. Like even with working now, my mind is so focused on, my business and what me and my husband got going on with our businesses, that even when I go to work sometimes I feel like 8 hours is taking
Like
too
you
much of
locked
my
down.
time. You know, and when I go to work, I do my best. You know, I try to, do what I need to do, and I think I do pretty well. But in the same token, my mindset is so above working at a job that it's almost like I have to, prioritize and things like that. So it's like I'm just gonna keep being consistent.
But yeah, but even with that, you know what I'm saying? You get before God and pray, and He'll give you the right timing where it's time for you to just walk out on faith. And listen, don't put so many hours into somebody else's business and you're not putting them same hours into your business. You'll know when it's time to jump off the cliff.
That's just like when I'm at work, I try to do everything that I need to do. If I have a task that's asked of me, I try to get it done. Um, you know, my boss, she knows, she asked me to do something, I'm on it. All right, I got you. I got you. Because, you also have to be a team player.
Yep.
So with that being said, is, every day it's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
You might have to help out here, help out there, and I'm fine with that. But at the same token, we can't get lost in a job to the point that we forget our own dreams.
Yeah.
But you still have to be sufficient at your job and do what you need to do so that you can, move ahead. And, even, I had got a promotion with, my job. And I had to play checkers. I had to walk out on faith, leave one position, do something else, and then it came right back around full circle because I knew that I wanted better. So I'm saying that to say, I just want to say that it's, it's Women's Month, and you guys, a lot of you guys that's probably on social media, you follow me, I'm always a phone call away. You can inbox me, follow me on Vicky Mack Detroit, Vicky Mack on Instagram, Detroit, Detroit Official. My husband put everything in the comments. Reach out to us, reach out to him. It's just about love. It's so much going on right now. We don't have time to
That's so true.
be indifferent right now.
And this is the time that we have to have each other's back because so many things are changing by the second. We got to know that the people that we have in our life is there to, to cover us and uplift us.
Yes.
So I had wrote down some practical tips to building, relationships. And I think you said it. You got to have active listening skills.
Yes.
You got to have effective communication. That's extremely
very important.
Communicate your needs, your wants, your desires. You have to set clear goals. When you're collabing with each other, set clear goals, roles, who's going to be in what role at what time, and expectations. You got to have expectations to ensure that the collaboration, it runs smooth.
Definitely. And it's very important. I just want to say shout out to all the queens that's doing your thing. Keep doing what you're doing, keep working, stay diligent. It's going to work out. Let's continue to support each other, as Black women and men. It's Women's Month. So let's just collaborate. Let's make it happen because we're powerful.
Yeah.
If you don't know that, I'm telling you, you're powerful. You're a queen.
Yes.
You don't have to settle, and if you don't believe me, do some research, but learn knowledge yourself.
Where do you see the future for women and women collaboration? And I'm asking you that, and I'm asking you because I want to put out there positive energy when it comes to women. We know where we come from. We know what we had to fight through, even between ourselves as women. Where do you see the future?
I see things changing. I see positivity coming sooner than later. But right now, the ones that want to see change, we have to continue to work diligently. And be the change. Work together. And then, everyone else will hop on the bandwagon. Because the same energy that you take to be mean, nasty, disrespectful, hateful, you can take that same energy and be positive. And it's really just that simple. It's a mindset. Everything starts with, you always like, this is something I used to tell my students, always start with the ending in mind.
The ending in mind.
Yes. Okay. Don't start at the beginning. Start with what you want to happen.
Okay.
So it goes back to what you just said. Where do you see it? I see it being something grand, something great.
Yeah.
But we have to have that mindset. Because if you think it, if you think it in your mind and you see it in your mind, you can manifest it.
Yep.
No doubt about it.
Yep.
You know, if I've done it, my husband's done it. You know, sometimes, you know, I look at our clothing lines and the things that because he's a fashion designer, he designs everything. Most of my clothes that I wear that have logos is stuff that he's done with his hand.
When you talk about you can manifest it, it's amazing to me that the way the society is ran right now, we take a lot of what's in the Bible and we reword it and stuff like that. The first, when you just said, you know, manifest it, I looked at it as when we're in a part of the Bible where it says life and death is in the power of our tongue. So we do manifest. We do speak those things as though they should be, you know, and I think that's one of the things that we have to, if you want a good relationship, a good friendship with women, you have to start speaking it. That I have good friends.
And see, God is in us.
Yeah.
And we can't lose sight of that.
Yeah.
God is in us. And we can, so that means that we can, God can do all things, right? So if God is in you, that means you can do all things.
Yep.
It's just that simple. So let's not forget that. So when we're, you know, enforcing that negative energy, we have to think about, hold on, am I operating in God?
Yeah.
He's in you.
Yeah.
You can manifest everything. Like, I'm sure before you had your podcast, you thought about this. Okay, I want to do this and I want to do that. And it manifests because you seen it in your head and you thought about it and you made it happen.
Now, you know, I didn't think about having a podcast, but I knew that there was a calling in my life and I would have to speak in front of people. And I was real quiet, really reserved, and I was scared to speak in front of people. God, terrified to speak in front of people.
But you thought it
But
in
it
your
was
mind.
based off of what I had been through in the past.
Exactly.
And I kept saying, Carmen, you can do it, you can do it. And then I met this man named Miles Dixon. And Miles was like, you know, I was listening to his podcast every day, a morning show. And then I started calling in. And then I kept saying in my mind, okay, if I can call in, you know, terrified and all that stuff, then, you know, maybe I can speak in front of people.
And you sitting here kicking it like a champ.
Yeah.
I'm just not really getting into all this extra talking now because I can talk. But you know, when I'm at home, you know, I'm a different person. It's like, oh, baby, da 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 da. But like just talking. But I've been.
And see, I'm really quiet.
I've done so many interviews.
Outside of the podcast.
And a podcast it's like, okay. And then a lot of times, you know, I'll do an interview with my husband. He's a talker. Okay. So I could bounce off him. Yeah. You know, but now it got to the point now that I do a lot of interviews by myself. So it's like, okay, Leash, you gotta do what you gotta do. But at the same token, you know,
I had somebody to push me. Somebody that saw something in me was like, you can do this. Somebody that cared enough to say, listen, this is in you. You got this.
Yes.
And if you don't got it, you know, well, I was like, well, can we tape it first? And then if I don't like it, then, you know, we can scrap it. He was like, yeah, we can tape it. And then I edited and this and that. And then the day I came in to do my first podcast. I thought it was taped. I didn't know that Joker went live.
But you was your authentic queen self.
I was authentic.
And that's all. So now you can get on here and be like, look, I'm tired. Like you just said, I'm hungry. Me too. So what we going to eat when we leave, baby? Because I'm hungry. Yeah, so I had a podcast. It was called Two Dope Chicks. Me and one of my friends, we had it. It was going well, but you know, we ended up, you know, letting it go. But yeah, and I used to love it. We used to get on and it's basically like this. We'll talk to women and, you know, it was about women empowerment. It was a pretty good podcast. Me and my husband, we're going to be starting our podcast this year. So, you know, we just trying to find time to actually do it because we do a million things. But yeah.
Listen, you ain't got to tell me about doing a million things. I'm telling you, my plate is overflowed and I'm just crazy enough to keep adding stuff. I ain't got nobody. That's what I say. I got to get married. So my husband say, if you don't go somewhere and sit down somewhere, you ain't about to go nowhere today. You on home ministry, you know.
But ain't nothing wrong with it though. You got the wisdom to do it, and you ready? Go for it.
But that's the reason why it's good to have women around you, because although Miles encouraged me to do the podcast, I had really good women in my life. My pastor's wife. Just women in a church that, you know, spoke life into me. I grew up in not really a good family situation, and then I ended up becoming a ward of the state. So I grew up in foster care. Then I went on to independent living, and I never thought I would be here, let alone in no doctoral program. But I had women that spoke life in me. So to get to where I'm at, sometimes we've been through so much trauma. That's why it's so important to have women
Yes.
to like cheer you on, because some women settle into that trauma. And you look up and you think, oh, they always in some drama and this and that. And it's not necessarily them, but it's all the
What they've
pain,
been through. Yeah.
that they in. And that's why we got to sit back and we got to talk to each other, and we got to help each other get through that
Right.
kind of
It's
stuff.
so important. It's so important.
And that's why I wrote this book here, y'all.
Okay.
This is my first book, Covenant Relationships, Understanding What God Desires for Us.
Okay.
And I wrote this book because I didn't want to be connected to nobody. Being in foster care, I was by myself. I had to watch myself. I had to, and I didn't like people. I'm just going to be honest with you. I didn't like people. I wouldn't open up. I wouldn't be transparent. And my pastor wife, we had gotten to be really close because I was her armor bearer. So we had gotten to be real close. And, she told me one day, we were talking, and she was like, Carmen, you got to open up. I was like, I'm good. I would just sit, I'd be like, I'm good. And one day she was having a service and she called me up. She said, God told me to tell you that he's breaking the orphan spirit off of you. And I said, orphan spirit? Child, I forgot I had been in the foster care my life, pretty much my whole life. She said, God said he's breaking the orphan spirit off of you. And I felt the tears coming. But I was so hard. I was like, oh, no, they're not about to get me to be crying in front of all these women. That church was packed. I said, girl, I know you lying. And I felt the tears. And I felt one was about to drop. And I turned my head so they could go back the other way. And I'm steady doing this. And she was like, I said, okay. And I'm like, hurry up, girl, so I can go to the bathroom. I was going to go in the bathroom and cry. And she was like, she told the women, other leaders, to come up and give me a hug. Girl, I could not stop crying.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow.
And then that's when that broke off of my life. And, she was telling me, God said that you have a voice. Because whatever you did, at that point, it was like, whatever you did to me, I just took it. I wouldn't talk for myself. I wouldn't defend myself. I just let it happen. And that's when I started initially finding my voice. But then my pastor taught a lesson on covenant relationships forever. I think he taught it like 3 times. And I got tired of the man talking about covenant relationships. I ain't even going to lie to you. I came into Bible class one night. And I just want to tell the story really close because it's important that you connect to good people.
Yes.
I came into Bible class and he was talking about, God told me to talk about covenant relationship. I told my friend, I said, I'm out of here. I'm about to go home. I done heard this message. I done heard the scriptures. So she was like, yeah, me too. She said, I don't want to hear this. We in the back row of the church. So we packing up our Bibles and we getting our purse together. I said, as soon as he pray before he start, I said, girl, let's sneak out. So she snuck out first. She was in the vestibule. She texted me and told me, come on, girl. God said, you better not leave. So I'm on the edge of my seat. I kept looking at the back door. I'm looking at the pastor. And I'm like, Lord, I'm about to go. I don't want to hear this. He said, you better not leave. That man started teaching. And I promise you, it was like I had never heard anything about covenant relationships.
Wow.
It was like a light bulb went on. And that's where this book was birthed that night.
Wow.
Now, if I had left,
you wouldn't have got what you
I wouldn't have got what I needed to write this book. And then because of the different traumas I went through in my life, I wrote a book on life happens. How God sustained me. So many things happen, when you in foster care and when you live with parents that are addicted to drugs and stuff like that. So I wrote this as a book to start conversations about life, and how you can get through it. And then I wrote this book on Let's Be Friends. It's a book on autism.
Okay. To
show first and secondary students how they can befriend children that are on the spectrum.
Okay.
So it's important because, sometimes we don't know what's inside of us. until we connect to the right people and they bring stuff out
That's
of us.
right. I agree.
And it directs you and puts you on a path to where you're supposed to be.
I agree.
So, ladies, connect yourself with good people.
Yes.
Allow people to help bring up and out of you
Yes.
what God intended.
Yes.
Don't get stagnated. Don't have the attitude that I see a lot. I don't need nobody. I can do this by myself. We were never put here to be on a land by ourselves.
And let's continue to grow our sisterhood. Happy Women's Month. Thank you for having me.
It's about us.
Yes,
we talk about the men when it's daytime.
Yes. Shout out to Dr. Batanji.
Yes,
all
Dr.
of the
Batanji.
wonderful women that's doing their thing. Congrats. Let's keep moving.
Keep doing it.
Let's keep doing it.
Now, before we go, tell us about your lip gloss and your lipstick, where we can find it.
VickyMac.com.
VickyMac.com.
Yes.
VickyIE. Okay.
Yeah, VickyMac.com. So that brand, and just to put it in a nutshell, it was a brand that my husband had years ago. I took it over a couple of years ago, and it's just all about defending your crown, women standing on who they are, not budging, just being a queen. How we have our good days and our bad days, but we are still who we are. We're defending our crown. So it's all about women empowerment. So, you can check out the website, VickyMac.com, and I appreciate you having me on today. It was awesome, and happy Women's Month.
What else do you have coming up?
Well, I'm in the process right now. I just started writing my second women's empowerment book.
Okay.
So, be on the lookout for that. Me and my husband got a couple of things going on. I have a new clothing line that's getting ready to come out called Adiva. Stay tuned for that, and just be on the lookout. We have some great things in store. Go shop Early Bird. Let's go shop The Official, and we're just going to keep moving and doing what we got to do.
Thank you so much for coming to the table. I really enjoyed our conversation.
Yes.
They got to come back, her and her husband, because we're talking about relationships in the month of April.
Yes. We'll be here. Let us know.
We want healthy relationships. If you and your dude or your girl, y'all, fighting and all that stuff, sit this one out.
Right. Y'all be blessed.
We're all about relationships and stuff like that. I want to thank Rico.
Thank you.
See, let me tell you something. I have been discussing with Rico for a long time. I've been asking questions about coming over here and doing my podcast. And, he's real quiet too. He's like, well, let me know when you ready to talk. But Rico has been such a blessing to me, and I appreciate you, Rico. He coming. He's so silly. He does all the extra stuff that I don't have to ask for.
Just quality work.
Quality work. Yes. I come in and stuff is done and it looks good and he makes me sound good. So I appreciate it, Rico. They call him super producer Rico. I don't know if I want to use their name. I'm gonna have to find another name.
Rico.
Rico, what should I call you? Suave. Okay, so Suave in the back there, he be hooking me up. I appreciate you, Rico. And thank you guys for tuning in, for sharing. Please like, comment, and share. Yes. Go and subscribe to Detroit Table Talk on YouTube. We got a lot of good things coming up. Oh, let's not forget, we got bingo, 90s bingo this week. I think it's Wednesday, the 26th. Come on out. It starts at 5 o'clock. I am, I'm putting on bingo night because we want to send some high school seniors to college.
Okay, that's
so
cool.
Come out and play bingo with us. You get 3 games for $20 for adults, and for children, you get 3 games and $10. And let me tell you something. I got some friends that have already started donating the prizes that you're going to win. Baby, this ain't no little stuff, okay? Ain't no little stuff going on. I got people, I've showed a couple of the items to a couple of friends, and they were like, oh, no, I got to come so I can win this, so I can win that.
Right.
So we just coming out and having some fun. We going to give some seniors a little extra money to pay for some books and make their first semester just easy. So come on out. We're gonna have Girl I Got You conferences coming this summer, and then we have the jeans and bling that's coming this summer. We got a lot going. So come on out, support. Everything that you support will go towards the homeless community. Between myself and Dice, we have hooked up, or he's hooked up with me to push in getting our homeless community the things that they need. We also adopted a men's shelter. So we still year round we collect socks, underwear, undershirts, dress shirts, so they can go out and be appropriate when they go to job interviews. We collect gift cards, so they can get on the bus, and they can get some of the things that they need. And we appreciate whatever you guys do. As always, you can always send whatever you can to Detroit. Well, Cash App, $ Detroit Table Talk. So you've been a blessing. You have helped many people, and we've been able to help many people because of your donations. So please don't stop. And I will see you at the 50 Queens.
The 50 Queens was today.
Oh, no, the Kings. The Kings is coming up.
Yeah, the Kings. We had the 50 Queens today. Thanks, everybody, for your support and coming out. And the 50 Kings is March 30th.
March the 30th?
Yes.
Yes, let's put that up. This is another, let me tell you, women, we're getting together and we are pushing each other. We're pushing each other's event. We have Tashanta.
Oh, yes.
She's collecting supplies.
Yes.
So that she can issue to the young ladies who she serviced in the Cody High School. And it's called Cupcake Princess.
Yes.
So anything on that list that you can donate, there is an address, 18441 West McNichols, for some of you who, know the other name, 6 Mile.
Yes.
Go on over there and drop off
support.
deodorant, body wash, soaps, lotions, lip balm, whatever you think that a young lady would like.
Yes.
Just drop it off. Even if you got $10, go in the dollar store and buy 10 toothbrushes or 10 toothpastes.
Yes.
Everything counts.
Yes.
Nothing that you give is minute.
That's right. Support. We got to support each other. Yes.
Because I'm telling you, she's supporting the Cody High School.
Yeah, I already done
We know as educators,
girl, and they'll be so
that
happy.
our kids need this stuff.
Yes. Yes.
They don't take it lightly.
They don't.
But listen, I love you because I can keep talking. Okay. I love you. And as Frankie Darcell saying, there's nothing that you can do about it. We will be back here at the table next week. And I can't remember who's the guest. If we have one, I don't know. But we'll be back at the table next week. And as usual, I got to remember where my hand got to be placed. Yeah. I love you.
All right. Happy Women's Day. Be blessed.
Happy Women's Month.